Welcome back to Hot Mess Murder Club, the podcast where we dive head first into true crime cases so chaotic, so baffling, and so aggressively stupid that they make you question whether humanity should have passed this group project we call civilization. I am Kat, and today's case involves obsession, manipulation, gaslighting on an Olympic level, and one of the most brutal crime scenes investigators had ever seen. And joining me, as always, is the woman who can spot a pathological liar from 6 miles away and would absolutely at least think about deleting your number before letting you ruin her life. Holly, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. And that is factual, actually.
Yes. I know.
I would see all the red flags and I'd still go head first.
You would still follow the white van.
We have followed the white van.
I know, and it turned out terribly.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Anyway, this case, however, is basically just a relationship horror story where every red flag shows up waving both arms in the air like a runway marshal, and everybody involved still goes, nah, I'm sure it's fine. Kind of like us.
It'll be all right. That does sound accurate. And today we are talking about the murder of Travis Alexander and the insane woman who killed him, Jodi Arias. 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 Areolas.
It's Arias.
Arias. We're off to a good start.
Good old areola.
Absolutely. So, Holly, we are going to go on a train today because fuck it. We're going to go on a train. We haven't been on one yet. Are you ready? Because we are going to Mesa, Arizona, where it's hot and dry and my hair doesn't stand a chance.
Well, no, it does because there's no humidity. So it's actually not bad for your hair at all.
Fine. Well, I'm going to get a terrible sunburn.
You look very tan in this lighting. I do not.
No. No, you look like college ruled paper.
We have spent countless minutes, maybe hours, on
I would say at least an hour.
I'm trying to fix any kind of lighting and setting in lighting to make me not look platinum.
Human.
I look transparent.
Yeah. I see your eyes and your hair. The rest of you see through. Anyway, so we're going to Mesa, Arizona via train circa 2006, the crown jewel of the Sonoran Desert. It's a place of aggressive suburban symmetry where the streets are a perfect grid and the lawns are so strictly decorative rock. In the center of this manicured purgatory lived Travis Alexander. To his neighbors, he was the ultimate Mesa success story. He was the golden boy who had a script for everything until he went to Las Vegas in September of 2006, where he met Jodi. Okay, so let's get into who Travis was a little bit. So Travis Victor Alexander was born on July 28th in 1977 in Riverside. He was one of 8 children in a household that struggled with instability, addiction, and neglect. Eventually, the situation became serious enough that Travis and several of his siblings were taken by their paternal grandmother, who stepped in to give them the stability their early childhood had been missing. By most accounts, young Travis was a scrapper, not the polished motivational speaker people would later see on convention stages, but a kid who got into fights and had a reputation for being rough around the edges. This transformation came later. In his late teens, Travis found faith in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a cult, mostly due to his grandparents' influence. And when Travis committed to something, he didn't do it halfway. He embraced the church fully. A cult. The fistfights disappeared, replaced with the classic Mormon uniform, white shirt, tie, missionary energy, and an almost relentless optimism about self-improvement. And let's not forget the also relentless house calls trying to convince you that their modern-day prophet is worth half your income. Religion didn't just give Travis spiritual direction, it gave him an identity. So in other words, he joined a cult.
You look so proud to say that.
Because it is. Fight me.
I feel like any religion could be considered cult-like. I mean,
well, that's true. I agree.
Following something that you're taking.
I think what makes what makes the LDS a little bit worse than that is the fact that they actually follow like a modern living prophet. And if you go,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic and I don't even study religion anymore.
Yeah, like they basically think that their leader or whatever is an actual prophet. And they go and they try to recruit members door to door. I mean, you don't see like Presbyterians doing that shit. You don't see like just Christians really doing that shit. But also, if you do something against what your prophet wants you to do, you're basically fucking shunned. Like you can't be anywhere near them anymore. Like they kick you out completely. That's a cult.
Oh. So when they come to the door saying, "Do you have a moment to spare to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?" That's the Latter-day Saints people.
Yeah. Do you have a moment to talk about joining our cult and giving us more than half your income? No, I do not.
I'm good.
Anyways.
So as an adult, Travis moved to Mesa, Arizona and built a life around two things: faith and business. He worked for Prepaid Legal Services, also known as PPL, a multi-level marketing company that sold prepaid legal plans. Travis thrived in that environment. He was charismatic, ambitious, and extremely good at selling both the product and the lifestyle that supposedly came with it. At conventions and training events, Travis became something of a motivational personality within the company. He traveled frequently, giving speeches about success, discipline, and becoming your best self. Of course he did. People who met him often described him as energetic, funny, and magnetic. The kind of guy who would walk into a room full of strangers and walk out with half of them convinced that he was their new best friend. Now, he is heavily involved in the cult's pyramid scheme, so cool. This is going well.
Yeah. I like how I put that in there. The cult's pyramid scheme. I'm really just going to dig that one in.
You know, are we victim shaming again?
No.
Because I really don't feel like, as much as we don't delve into religion ourselves, I really feel like this guy really didn't deserve what happened to him.
No, and the fact that he joined a cult, that's not why he was killed. I'm sorry. Joined the Latter-day Saints isn't why he was killed. I'm just saying he joined a cult. That's not the reason he died, but he was a cult member.
It kind of teeters that line though, because of...
You know what? It kind of does, because later on, the reason why him and Jodi broke up had to do with the beliefs of his religion. So it does kind of tie in, but I don't think it's really victim shaming. Like everybody hasn't seen the documentary.
Okay. You hadn't seen it. You didn't see it till just the other day.
But I have now. And that's what matters.
And the other half of these listeners will go and watch it after they hear this episode.
I'm sure they will. But with Travis, it gets deeper, though. He even had a goofy alter ego for comedy bits that he would perform at events. Travis sometimes did stand-up under the name Eddie Snell. So basically, if Travis was the polished, I'm here to help you make six figures guy, then Eddie Snell was his gritty, sarcastic alter ego. Basically, he was a caricature of a failed, bitter, motivational speaker. And within his Mormon community, Travis was seen as a catch. He was single, successful, socially confident, and deeply involved in church life. He mentored converts, participated in church activities, and presented himself as someone trying to live according to his faith, which brings us to the part where everything gets messy.
Okay, so born in Salinas, California in 1980, Jodi didn't exactly have the Mormon-approved upbringing. She grew up in Wairika, a small town where she eventually dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. She was not a scholar, she was a drifter. She spent her 20s bouncing between waitressing gigs and dead-end jobs, always looking for a lifestyle that she could inhabit. Jodi's real talent wasn't really photography, but morphing. Before she found Travis, she allegedly dabbled in everything from Buddhism and Hinduism to witchcraft, usually depending on the guy that she was dating at the time, because what girl doesn't try to find mutual things to do with their boyfriends. She did not have a solid personality. She had a wardrobe. She didn't have a solid personality. She had a wardrobe of identities.
All right. And by the time she hit that Las Vegas convention in 2006, she was living in Palm Desert and working as an aspiring photographer for prepaid legal. She was, at the time, in a 4-year relationship with a live-in boyfriend whom she then dumped within a week of meeting Travis. So she didn't just meet him, she removed... Whore! So she didn't just meet Travis. She removed people from her life entirely to make room for him. She saw a man who was successful, religious, and stable, and she decided she was going to be the perfect reflection of everything he desired, even if she had to lie to every high priest in Mesa to do it. I mean, you meet a week later, you're kicking out your boyfriend of years.
I mean, that's considerate. Kick out. At least she's not cheating. She's kicking him out.
I feel like they probably did.
They probably did.
Canoodle at the very least.
I've read a lot of research on this story, and I believe they did a lot more than canoodle.
I was trying to make it seem like she was a nice girl.
She is absolutely not a nice girl.
She's a whore.
She's a skank, a slut, a harlot, so to speak.
Ooh, a harlot.
I like that word.
I like that. Harlot. Okay, so in September of 2006, the two collided at a prepaid legal convention in Las Vegas, like we just said. Travis was the charismatic star. I don't like the way I said that at all. Yeah. He was the charismatic star. Jodi was the ambitious photographer. They reportedly hit it off immediately, spending their first night talking until 4 a.m.
Of course they were.
Travis was so smitten that he told his friends he'd found his wife and won the wife lotto with a bombshell within 24 hours of meeting her. He was so in it that he urged her to read the Book of Mormon before they even left the conference, because you gotta keep recruiting, even if it is for personal gain. The cult.
I'm just saying, like, that's a little, what is the word I'm looking for?
Dumb?
No, what is the word? He's kind of jumping the gun. What is the word? Like, whatever. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. He's stupid.
He's jumping the damn gun.
He's stupid. He jumped straight to wife lotto with this bitch. And that's just not it. Just not it. Give it a minute. Give it 25 hours, Travis.
But they were talking until 4 a.m. That's long enough.
Yeah. Long enough for any girl to say what she wants to get a guy to believe her.
Long enough for you to tell her to read the Book of Mormon.
And
I bet you that conversation was super cool.
I mean, to her, he was a winner. So she was going to do exactly what he said.
It's true. She needed to be what he wanted her to be so she could then be what she wanted to be.
Mrs. Travis.
A murderer.
That escalated quickly. Well, it didn't take much for Travis to convince Jodi to join the Mormon church. In fact, she was officially baptized into the Latter-day Saints church in February 2007, with Travis participating in the ceremony. She described the experience as, quote, everything coming into alignment, end quote. Keep in mind, this was only a few months in, and Travis hadn't even told the world that they were officially dating yet. So, in reality, she was morphing. But for Travis, she became the ultimate Mormon princess. This conversion was just a way to look more like wifey material, and eventually it was used as an excuse to stay in his orbit.
So because they lived in different states, she in California and him in Arizona, their relationship was built on a staggering digital paper trail. Throughout their time together, they exchanged over 82,000 emails. And these weren't just, hey, what's for dinner kind of stuff. It was a 24/7 stream of consciousness that documented the sexual tension. And despite their religious vows, they had a very active, very explicit sexual relationship. And also the guilt. Travis struggled with his priesthood status versus his private life. He would lash out, calling Jodi names like slut and whore, and even evil in emails because he felt she was tainting his spiritual standing.
It's just like a guy. That is, again, not victim shaming. He really didn't deserve it, but that's such a dude thing to do. Like, if he didn't want it, he wouldn't have done it, first of all.
Well, here's where it gets me, is like, how are you going to seduce her? You're going to have sex with her, and that's okay, but then all of a sudden, she's the problem?
She tainted him. She was evil. She got into his mind and made him do the things that he didn't want to do because it went against his religion. So
he kept doing it.
Yeah. You gonna say that you haven't made a mistake more than once?
I didn't do this. I didn't turn around and blame them for me making that mistake.
No.
I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yes, multiple times.
I mean, let's not get too deep into it.
So anyway, so they officially dated from February to June 2007, a grand total of 5 months. Travis broke it off because he didn't see her as marriage material anymore due to their sexual relationship. So the situationship didn't actually stop, though. Even after the breakup, Jodi moved to Mesa, Arizona to be closer to him. They continued a secret sexual relationship while Travis tried to date purer girls in the ward. She became his kryptonite, and he couldn't say no to her, and she refused to be told no. This went on until literally the evening he was murdered in April 2008.
Okay, so a quick recap of all that then. If I'm understanding this correctly, which I wrote this, so I'm pretty sure I do. So they meet in September of 2006. They start seeing each other unofficially, and he is grooming her to join the Mormon religion in November of 2006. She converts, and they become official in February 2007. The relationship starts to crumble in April 2007, and then by June, they're broken up, because he doesn't want to marry her because she's not pure in the cult's eyes, but he was the one who made her not pure, so he really isn't pure either, but it's okay when he does it, and they're still messing around this whole time.
But you can't say that he made her impure. Nobody said that she was a virgin when she met this guy.
I'm saying in his eyes, he made her impure.
She made him impure.
She made him impure, but he was the one that did it to her. Like, in his eyes, she is impure because she has had sex, not the fact that she wasn't a virgin. Okay. I guess when she became a Mormon and they started having sex before marriage is when she became impure to him, but he was the one who did it. He's not married either.
It takes two. So they're both, you're correct. They are both at fault. But at the same time, like, I mean,
at the same time, what, Holly? Was her skirt too short?
She was a whore.
Well, so was he.
She refused to be told no. He tried. So essentially, she raped him too. They forgot to add rapist to this.
Oh. You're fucking stretching, dude.
Is it?
She did not rape him.
If he said no over and over and she did not like that and did it anyway, that is rape. That is not consensual. So, yeah, she is evil.
Where's the story where he straight up said no and then she came on to him anyway and he was saying, no, no, please don't do this. No, 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 while she's on top of him? Where's that documentation?
Yeah, when you go...
Or was it, I'm going to tell you no, but all right, you know what? One more time, Jodi, I think is more how it went. And that, ma'am, is not rape.
It's still a no.
All right, get the fuck out.
And then... and... I mean, she was a psycho, though. She was a psycho. Because, like, a lot of the stuff we skipped over. Like, I know that we still have a lot to go over. But she started doing this crazy stuff anyway. Because once he tried to break it off with her, then we had, like... What do we see? The thing about her crawling through his doggy door. in the middle of the night, just trying to catch him with other girls because he was trying to find purer women and she was trying to catch him with somebody else. Can you imagine seeing one of your exes coming through your doggy door in the middle of the night when you get up for a fucking drink of water and thinking, oh, that's just a rabid raccoon, and then you turn on the light and they're just crawling on the floor? Like, that would scare the fuck out of me. I'd probably shoot somebody.
Did he call the police on her for breaking into his house?
He did not, actually. And
not rape. Did he call the police when she slashed his tires?
Yes, he did. That was
Rape.
reported. Did you say rape?
That's tire rape.
Yeah, she had slashed his tires. She came into his house through a doggy door. She went through all of his texts, his pictures, his phone calls, like everything, his emails.
But that doesn't mean that she raped him.
She was fucking crazy, and everything she did was fucking crazy. And you know what? I want to throw the title of rapist on top of her little stack of fucking psycho bitch. Because he said no. Even if he didn't mean it, he said it.
And then he said yes. Quite a few times.
You don't know. You weren't there.
I didn't. It doesn't matter.
It's fine. Continue. Let's just keep going.
Okay.
She's a rapist.
Okay.
And he's a cultist. It's fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's true. So let's get one thing straight. Travis Alexander and Jodi Arias are stuck in this kind of toxic, exhausting loop that makes you want to reach through the screen and hand them both a Xanax. It was months of breakups, hookups, screaming matches, and I hate you but don't leave me text messages. The thing that finally cracked the foundation wasn't a dramatic public meltdown or a glass of wine thrown in the face. It was his vacation itinerary. You see, Travis had earned a high-performance reward trip through his company, an all-expenses-paid trip to Cancun, Mexico. And Jodi, living in her warped fan fiction version of reality, was already picking out her beachy lingerie. She assumed she'd be the one sitting next to him on that plane because in her mind, they were still inevitable. Then the truth landed like a lead weight. Travis had invited someone else on Jodi's imaginary romantic getaway, and her name was Mimi Hall.
Yeah, her name was Mimi Hall, and Jodi's a fucking psycho. I mean, I'll back Jodi for a second here. If I'm with a guy, and even if it's an on-off relationship, if he's bringing it up to me and I know he is not actively dating other people, which is not the case here, maybe I would think, hey, maybe I'm going with him, or maybe he'll ask. But the fact that he didn't ask, he is openly trying to find somebody more suitable for him that matches his energy, his faith, his whatever. And Jodi and him have been broken up multiple times, and he keeps trying to cut her off. Why would she think that he's going to take me?
I don't know.
I'm the one.
I don't know. I mean, she has to know, or maybe she doesn't. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't get it, but she has to understand that he is not interested in doing anything with her. But maybe she thought that because like their relationship was kind of this weird fucking secret, that this trip, like nobody would know that she went with him. So it was going to be like their own private little getaway. I don't know. She's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I feel like there's really no trying to understand it because she's crazy. And a sane person wouldn't do the things that she did, wouldn't go through. So it's really hard to understand. Either way, Mimi was everything Jodi wasn't. She was stable. She was well liked. She actually followed the rules of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So in Travis's world, Mimi was the future wife prototype. So they had only gone on one date, and Mimi made it clear to Travis that she wanted to remain friends. Travis took this as a challenge and thought that this trip to Cancun would be the perfect opportunity to change her mind, which is kind of creepy in a few ways. Jodi was the messy secret, off the books complication he was desperately trying to delete out of his life. So for Jodi, that non-Cancun invite wasn't just a rejection. It was a clear cut and dry eviction notice, and Travis had just posted it. She was done.
If we're talking about rapey vibes here,
Okay.
so Mimi made it perfectly clear that she just wanted to be friends. And Travis was like, I get that, but I'm just going to take you out of the country and just see if I can change your mind on that.
Okay. Again, because there's a lot of information from a lot of different sources, that's something else that was not thrown into this, because her reason for wanting to just be friends was because of the crap between him and Jodi. Like, it was so messy and back and forth, and everybody in his friend circle saw how crazy she was and how possessive she was, and they didn't want to get into the middle of it. And Mimi was one of his friends that was in that friend group, so she had already been around Jodi and seen this, and that was why she wanted the friendship versus more, because Jodi was still not out of his life completely.
Okay, so if that was the case, then why would he think that taking her on this trip would change her mind into wanting to date him when he knows that she knows when they go back, Jodi's still going to be a problem?
Because I was thinking, the way that hit me was, he's going to take her there to show that she is the one that he wants to be with. Like, he's showing her, I'm choosing you. I don't want her in my life. I don't want to be with her. This is an opportunity. He could have taken Jodi.
Well, I would take it as because they'd already gone on one date. So let's say what you said, like maybe Mimi would be interested in him if Jodi wasn't around. So if they went on one date, you would think the conversation that he would have with her is, Jodi's goddamn crazy. I want to be with you. But she says, I don't want to be with you because Jodi's crazy. So this is already all known. So why would he want to take her to Cancun in order to be like, this is going to make her actually want to date me, knowing nothing has changed?
Because he's a dude. Let's be fair.
Oh, now you want to be fair?
What?
Jess, I can't with you.
It's okay. So now here is where the entire crime of passion defense starts to collapse like a cheap lawn chair in a hurricane. It looks like the most cold-blooded, boring, and terrifying logistical planning you've ever seen. So between June 2nd and June 4th, 2008, the pieces of evidence started stacking up without Jodi realizing it. And every single piece tells the same story. This was not an accident, and this was a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, so first, let's talk about the weapon. A .25 caliber handgun suddenly disappears from Jodi's grandparents' home in California. And she reports it stolen, of course, but investigators later looked at that timeline and basically said, okay, listen, bitch, exactly how dumb do you think we are? Because they knew the most logical explanation isn't a random burglar with a very specific taste in small caliber firearms. It's that Jodi swiped the piece before she hit the road. Then we get to the stealthy fuel tank maneuver. Before she leaves, Jodi buys 3 5-gallon gas cans. Now, unless you're planning a very intense lawn mowing session, there's only one reason to do this. You don't want to stop for gas. Not in Arizona, and definitely not on the way back. Stopping for gas means credit card trails, witnesses, and the ultimate enemy of the aspiring young murderer, grainy 7-Eleven security cameras. You see, Jodi wanted to be a ghost in the desert. She didn't want to leave a physical trail solely because she wanted to be able to make up one later, and to be able to change it if need be.
Next up, the rental car. Jodi gets a white Ford Focus, and she's weirdly specific about one thing. She asked for a car without GPS. She's out here playing Mission Impossible with a trunk full of contraband gas and a very dark agenda. Oh, and let's not forget about the hair. She dyes her signature blonde hair a very bland, dull, unforgettable, don't look at me brown. You don't change your entire identity and stockpile fuel because you're having a sudden emotional snap. You do that because you're planning to commit a crime and you want to walk away unrecognized. So
this is 100% premeditated.
Absolutely. And I mean, she knew what she was doing from the beginning. Yeah, there's no question. She's a fucking psychopath. And I'm sorry.
No, you're not. I don't care what you're about to say. You're not sorry.
I'm not sorry. Fuck her. Fuck you, Jodi. You got what you got.
Rapist.
Whore.
So now we're going to get into her little road trip. So on June 2nd, 2008, Jodi leaves Yreka, California in the rental car that she specifically requested not to have a GPS in. She's got her 3 5-gallon gas cans filled to the brim in the trunk, and her hair dyed a Don't Notice Me brown, and a stolen .25 caliber handgun tucked away. She drives south to Pasadena to see an old flame for an alibi check-in, then hits the road for the long haul. She's zigzagging through the desert, stopping to fill her tank from those gas cans in the middle of nowhere so she doesn't leave a paper trail. By the time she crosses the Arizona border, there it is, honky tonk, bitch.
Yeah!
By the time she crosses the Arizona border, she's turned off her cell phone. For the next several hours, Jodi Arias officially ceases to exist on the grid.
So, despite their breakup a year prior, Jodi and Travis were still in that toxic friends with benefits cycle where boundaries just don't exist. Jodi had lived in that house briefly, so she had her own key. Even after she moved back to California, Travis had never changed his locks. So, unfortunately, on June 4th, 2008, Jodi did not knock. She didn't call. She just kind of let herself in. And so just imagine the scene. Travis is dead asleep in his master bedroom, thinking he's all safe in his suburban sanctuary. And at 4 a.m., the front door clicks open. Jodi, who's supposed to be 1,000 miles away in Wairika, California, creeps up the stairs. Freak.
Creep.
Whore.
Literally.
Rapist.
Rapist. And she didn't wake him up with a scream or an argument. She crawled into bed with him. And when Travis finally woke up and saw her, he wasn't even horrified. He was so used to her surprise visit and her boundary stomping that he just kind of rolled with it. They spent the next several hours talking and, eventually, having sex. To Travis, this was just another relapse in their addiction to each other. To Jodi, this was the final act. She used that key to bypass his defenses, literally and figuratively, ensuring he was as vulnerable as possible before he ever stepped into that shower.
So they spend the morning and early afternoon of June 4th acting like a couple. They're talking, eating, and having sex. It's the ultimate mask, and at one point, they start taking photos of each other. Jodi takes over the camera, which is a Sony Cybershot, and starts snapping pictures of Travis. Some are intimate, and some are just him lounging around. But in these photos, Travis looks relaxed. He just looks like a guy who thinks he's in control of a situation. He has no idea that the woman behind the lens has spent the last 48 hours prepping for his funeral. So the vibe shifts at approximately 5:22 p.m. Travis decides he needs to take a shower. He's sitting in the shower stall, back to the curtain, while Jodi continues to take these weird Calvin Klein style photos of him. We know this because that camera recorded them with timestamps.
Doesn't sound like a whole lot of rape going on.
She's a rapist.
The last normal photo of Travis is taken at 5:29 p.m. He's sitting in the shower looking directly at the camera. It's a haunting image because it's the last time that he is seen alive. In a matter of minutes, the shower becomes a literal kill floor. Jodi attacks him with the knife first, and we're talking over 27 stab wounds. Travis, despite being caught completely off guard and naked in a slippery shower, tries to fight back. He manages to get out of the stall, leaving a trail of blood down the hallway as he tries to crawl away. But Jodi doesn't stop. She follows him. At some point, she pulls out the .25 caliber and shoots him in the head, but the gun didn't kill him. The medical examiner later said he was likely already dying from the throat wound. She finishes by nearly decapitating him, cutting his throat from ear to ear with such force that she hits the bone.
Oh my goodness. Like, because you didn't get invited to Cancun.
This is over Cancun.
Like, you can have an all-inclusive vacation for less than $1,000, Jodi. Whatever. After the struggle, Jodi doesn't call 911. She doesn't panic. She drags Travis's body back into the shower stall and turns on the water to wash away as much of the evidence as possible. She then takes the camera, the one that, unbeknownst to her, captured the whole thing, and tosses it into the washing machine along with some bloody clothes. She thinks that she's being a genius. She thinks that the water and the detergent will just destroy all the digital evidence, but she's an idiot.
She's a strong idiot, though. She was able to drag his ass all the way back into the shower. You know how heavy a dead dude is?
I mean, I didn't look up his height and weight or hers. Are you going to Google it?
Of course I am.
A few moments later.
Boom.
Boom. Okay. Based on court testimony from the Jodi Arias trial, Travis Alexander was approximately 5'10" and weighed roughly 170 to 190 pounds at the time of his murder.
I feel like I could drag a body that size easy.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah, well, you probably could have before you got weak.
No, I don't think I could. I don't think I could drag a dead weight 200-pound dude across the... No.
You don't feel like you could have moved less than 200 pounds by yourself at any point?
A dead weight? I don't know, man. That's tough.
When you think dead weight, don't think of a body. Think of...
But that's exactly what this situation is.
I understand, but that's what you're thinking is dead body. Think of the weight, just that weight, having to push or pull that weight. You can do that. It's not going to be easy.
What am I supposed to be imagining the 200 pounds is if it's not a dead body in the situation where we're talking about dragging a dead body? A sack of potatoes?
No, that's a lot of fucking potatoes. I'm thinking more like I was thinking more like piece of furniture, like you're pushing a couch or a sectional or
They usually have the little nubby legs, though, that are meant to slide across the floor.
Maybe you're lifting a weight, like a barbell, with weights. Moving that.
What's the difference between a barbell weight, and a dead guy weight? That's okay. All right. That's what I needed to know.
I have an answer.
Duh, I see that.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to say
Anyways,
so
she spends the
barbell. No. Let me speak. The barbell.
Holly, you're done. You're fucking done.
Let me say it. The barbell is just solid. It's a solid bar with the weights on the end. So it's solid. When you have a dead body, there's movement to it, which makes it a little more difficult, but it's the same weight. Why are you looking? Fuck this. Just keep going. I'm not talking anymore. You're giving...
That argument was wild. I don't know where I am right now. What world did you take me to?
Shut up.
So Jodi spends the next hour or so cleaning up the obvious blood in the bathroom, though she does a terrible job of it. Then she gets back in her white fired Focus, turns her phone back on, and starts driving towards Utah to see another guy, dropping her "I'm just a girl on a road trip" mask back into place like nothing ever happened. And this is where the case really starts to go off the rails.
Now?
Yeah.
Now it's getting problematic.
Now the case is getting problematic for everybody.
For her?
So, I think it's pretty problematic for Travis right now.
No, he's moved on to a better place. He's with his Lord and Savior. He's good.
He doesn't have a care in the world.
Nope, he is good.
So for 5 days, Travis Alexander was a ghost. Oh. I didn't think that through when I wrote that.
Pun intended.
Now you have to understand, Travis was the kind of guy who lived on his phone. He was a motivational speaker. His voice was his paycheck. So when he didn't show up for his Super Bowl at the prepaid legal convention in West Virginia, the alarm bells didn't just ring, they screamed. Mimi Hall, Chad Hyatt, and the rest of the inner circle were blowing up his phone, and nothing. They called the house. The roommates, bless their unobservant hearts, basically shrugged and said, his car is here, but his door is locked. He's probably just catching up on some sleep. So for 4 days, life in that house went on as normal. People ate cereal, watched TV, and went to sleep, while 30 feet away, the Golden Boy was decomposing in a 100-degree Arizona summer.
First of all, after reading this was the first I had seen that there was actually roommates, because I hadn't noticed that in anything that I had seen prior to. None of the information that I've personally read up on described or mentioned in any of the documentaries I've seen on this. So that was kind of a shock to me. I didn't know that there was even roommates, but seriously, he's catching up on sleep for 4 days, not to be seen at all. I'm sorry, but I'm thinking in 4 days he might want a snack.
Or I don't know if they were there 100% of the time for those 4 days. So maybe if they left and went to work, they probably thought maybe he got up or something. I don't know.
Either way, by Monday night, Mimi Hall had had enough. They were supposed to leave for their trip to Cancun the very next day, and it's been just crickets from Travis for days. She knew the Jodi factor was always simmering in the background, and the current silence was heavy. She contacted Chad Hyatt, Melissa Lowry, and Dallin Forrest. Their collective bad feeling had reached a fever pitch. At 9 p.m., that squad assembles at the house on Omega Avenue. They don't wait for an invite. They get into the house through the garage. They find the roommates and demand to check the master suite. The roommates finally admit there's been a weird smell, but they've been blaming it on the plumbing or the fact that it's a bachelor pad and dudes just stink. So at 9:30, they head upstairs. The master bedroom is locked, and this is the moment where most people would call the cops and wait. But Chad, he just grabs a screwdriver. He's not waiting anymore. He pops the lock, the door swings open, and that plumbing issue suddenly reveals itself as the smell of a slaughterhouse.
A plumbing issue? Or a bachelor house? How bad do these dudes smell that a decomposing body is like, it could just be us?
I would even jokingly, if you really thought, oh, it's just because it could be us because it's a bachelor pad, but you haven't seen your roommate for days. Nobody's heard from him, and they're questioning, hey, have you seen him? Oh, he's catching up on some sleep. But at the same time, simultaneously, your house is starting to smell. I would jokingly like, are you dead in there, bro? Like, ha, 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 come out. Something.
How would you feel if you did do that, and then you opened the door and he was dead in there, bro? Ha, ha, ha.
Well, then it's not funny anymore. Then you're like, damn, just kind of like how you just said Travis was a ghost right after we talked about him getting killed.
That was a rough one.
That's kind of how I would feel.
That was a little rough. But the group pushes into the bedroom, and it's dark and it's heavy and the air is thick. Melissa spots red droplets on the floor, and she knows immediately that's not rusty pipe water, that is blood. Mimi and Zachary are the ones who push into the bathroom.
Who the fuck is Zachary? He was not one of the friends that they had mentioned that went over there.
Well, I think Zachary's the roommate.
Okay.
Did I not say the roommate's name?
No. It's just always referred to as the roommate.
Cool. Mimi and the roommate are the ones who push into the bathroom. They aren't looking for a body, they're looking for their friend. But what they find in that shower stall isn't Travis, it's just a heap. Mimi sees the blood on the walls. She sees the matted hair in the shower. In a moment of pure trauma-induced denial, she actually thinks it's a prank. She thinks, this can't be real. It looks like a movie set. Then reality hits, and the screaming starts.
So the group scrambles out of the house like it's on fire. They're on the front lawn gasping for air that doesn't smell like death, and they call 911. And here's the most telling part of the whole night. Before the cops even find the camera in the washer, before they find the bloody palm print on the wall, the friends are already giving the police a name.
And they didn't say, we think it was a robber. They didn't say, check the roommates. They looked the first responding officer in the eye and said, you need to find Jodi Arias. The bathroom was a forensic nightmare because the body had been sitting in a hot Arizona house for 5 days. Decomposition was advanced, making the scene even more gruesome. Travis's body was stuffed in the walk-in shower stall. He was crumpled in a heap, naked, and drenched in a mixture of his own blood and the water Jodi had used to try and clean the scene. There was a massive amount of arterial spray on the walls and the ceiling. A thick trail of blood led from the shower down the hallway and back again. It showed that Travis hadn't just died in the shower, he had fought for his life. He had crawled out, bleeding from his neck, trying to reach the door, only for Jodi to drag him back. The most chilling detail was the wound to his throat. It was so deep and so violent, cut from ear to ear, severing his jugular vein, carotid artery, and trachea, that the medical examiner said he was nearly decapitated. While the bathroom was a horror show, the piece of evidence that actually closed the case was found in the laundry room.
The laundry room is where they found the camera that Jodi was using, Travis's Sony CyberShot camera. Jodi ran a cycle thinking the water and detergent would destroy the digital evidence. It didn't because, again, like I said, she's an idiot. Then, when detectives processed the house, they found the camera sitting in the bottom of the washing machine. Remember those photos that we already talked about? When forensic experts recovered the images, they found the last photo of Travis alive in the shower at 5:29 p.m. Then they found an accidental photo of Travis's bleeding back at 5:32 p.m. And finally, the real prize in this Cracker Jack box was a photo of the back of Jodi's leg, covered in blood, as she stood over him.
Brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
But she made sure she colored her hair so nobody would see her.
She's a fucking idiot. This is stupid. So the medical examiner's report was the final nail in the coffin. It wasn't just a murder, it was overkill. There was 27 stab wounds concentrated on his chest, back, and neck. His throat was slit, a massive 6-inch gash that severed his windpipe and jugular, and then the gunshot, a .25 caliber bullet to the fucking forehead. The defense later tried to argue he was shot first to claim self-defense against the charging Travis, but the forensics proved the opposite. There was no heavy bleeding from the head wound, meaning his heart had likely already stopped from the throat slitting by the time she pulled the trigger. She shot a man who was already dead just to make sure the job was done. Not to mention, the camera proved she was standing right there while he was being butchered. But wait, there's always fucking more. In the hallway where Travis had tried to crawl away to save his life, detectives found a bloody palm print on the wall. Why don't you tell us about that, Holly?
Well, interestingly enough, this palm print wasn't just Travis's blood. It was a latent print that contained a mixture of both Travis's blood and Jodi's DNA. This was the forensic equivalent of a neon sign pointing directly at her. It proved she had physical contact with him and the wall while he was actively bleeding out. And let's not forget about that road trip ruse. Detectives started looking at Jodi's movements in California. They found the rental agreement for a white Ford Focus. When they checked the car after she returned it, they found something the rental company had missed: blood stains on the floor mats and the seat. Then they found the receipts from when Jodi had purchased 3 5-gallon gas cans just days before the murder. She was trying to be a ghost, but she was actually leaving a mile-long premeditation paper trail in the back of a fucking Ford Focus. Way to go, Jodi.
It's always a fucking Ford Focus.
Is it?
No. It is this time.
It is this time. Fucking Jodi. Rapist.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she's not a rapist.
Actually, if we go into another documentary, they did a documentary on her prison cellmates and what it was like to be like cellmates with Jodi Arias and things. She's a fucking rapist. Just so you know.
Says who?
The cellmates.
That's credible as fuck.
She got jealous because the cellmates actually had like a relationship between them, and she was banging out both of them. And so they were.
So you don't think that they're going to use, "Oh, she raped me," as a way to say, "No, I didn't cheat on you"?
I don't know. I might be making that up.
I think you might be. She might have been a little rapey, but she wasn't a rapist.
Definitely rapey. She is rapey as fuck.
But she wasn't a rapist.
And you know what? She would say, "Thank you, Kat, for having my back." But she's a fucking rapist. I don't care.
No, I still think she's fucking stupid, but she didn't rape the guy, nor did she rape her cellmates.
Yeah, maybe. I'll shut up.
We're going to get into the interrogation. So on July 15th, 2008, Detective Esteban Flores finally brought her in. Watching her on the interrogation tape is peak sociopathic behavior. And here's the recap of that scene. So Jodi started with, I wasn't even in Arizona. I was in California. And then Flores shows her the shower photos, and then Jodi pivots. All right, picture this. So Jodi is in that room. The walls are closing in because the forensics are screaming her name. Most people would lawyer up, but not Jodi. She leans forward, looks Detective Flores in the eye, and drops the masked intruder bomb. We were in the bathroom, and these two individuals just appeared. They were like wearing all black, like long sleeves, like heavy duty gloves, and they had like these masks, like ninja masks. That's what she sounds like.
You sound like Fran Drescher.
Then she sounds like Fran Drescher.
She actually described them in detail. One was a tall individual and the other was shorter. She claimed they bum rushed the bathroom, attacked Travis while he was in the shower, and she, the brave soul, managed to scramble past them and sprint to her rental car. Obviously, Flores asked her, and you didn't call for help? And you didn't stop at a neighbor's house? You didn't flag down a cop? Jodi suggested that she was just in shock and drove. She thought that if she didn't say anything, maybe he would be okay, and she was protecting his reputation, which we all know is bullshit.
Everything she does and says is bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah. So with the detective's patience running thin and Jodi being more of a fucking headache than anything else, Flores had heard enough. He didn't need a confession. He has the evidence, and it was fucking substantial. He officially arrested her on July 15th, 2008, and this was 41 days after the murder. As they walked her out in handcuffs, Jodi wasn't crying for Travis. She wasn't asking about his family. She looked at the cameras and started thinking about her media strategy. She was already planning her 18 days on the witness stand. She thought she was the smartest person in the room, but the room was a jail cell, and the door was about to lock for a very, very long time.
So she kept the ninja story alive until about 2010 while waiting for trial. For 2 years, she let Travis's family believe random intruders had butchered him, and it wasn't until her defense team realized that a ninja story with her DNA all over the room was legal suicide and that she suddenly remembered what actually happened. She finally admitted that she had killed him, but then she flipped the script again. It wasn't ninjas, it was domestic violence, and I was just defending myself.
Can you do that in her voice, though?
I won't.
Basically, she spent 2 years lying about the ninjas until she realized the jury wasn't as dumb as she thought they were. She traded the ninja mask for a battered woman defense, but by then, the only person the jury believed was the camera she had tried to drown in the laundry. And that didn't stop her from taking the ninja story to national television, though. Before the trial even started, she sat down with 48 hours and looked into the camera with zero blinking and said, "No jury is going to convict me because I am innocent, and you can mark my words on that. The jury will never convict me." Okay, Jodi.
Wow. So at this point, she's already been arrested. We did miss something from the interrogation, though. And
What's that?
when the interrogators walked out of the room, she started doing she was doing a handstand and was singing "Oh Holy Night," like singing Christmas songs.
That's right. I forgot about that. How did I forget about that?
I don't know. That's something that everybody knows about this case, and you didn't even mention it.
I didn't.
No,
I really didn't.
Yeah, she does a handstand against the wall, and then she's singing "Oh Holy Night" and kind of ballerina dancing around the interrogation room while she's waiting for the police to come back in. It was just weird, odd behavior.
Do you think that that was something that she had planned to try and go for an insanity plea? Or do you think that she really thought she was going to get away with this? So she was just very unconcerned with the whole situation?
I think from what I've read and seen through the documentaries and the research, I believe that it's a very mixed group, but a lot of people were suggesting the police thought it was more she was trying to do that so she can plead. It was crazy. She was just crazy out of her mind to get a lesser sentence now that she was caught. So I really
Yeah,
don't
I guess
know.
she believes she was smart enough to pull that off so that she would, if anything, get an insanity plea instead of,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, good point.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. You forgot that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck me, right? Sorry.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about the absolute legal black hole that was the pretrial phase. In the normal world, you get arrested, you get a lawyer, you face a jury. But Jodi, she doesn't just go to jail. She turned the Maricopa County lockup into her own personal PR firm for over 4 long, agonizing years. From the day the handcuffs clicked shut on July 15th, 2008, to the day the first opening statement was uttered on January 2nd, 2013, exactly 1,632 days passed. That is 4.5 years of Travis's family waiting for justice while Jodi was busy reinventing herself like a low-budget Madonna.
Now, why did it take longer than a college degree to get this woman to a courtroom? Well, first, the state was seeking the death penalty, which moves so slow it might as well go fucking backwards. But the real reason, other than that, was Jodi's truth was a moving target. The first 2 years, the Ninja Invaders era is what I'm going to call it, she was still riding that imaginary masked intruder train into a brick wall. Her lawyers were basically forced to build a defense around a fictional action movie that had zero forensic evidence. Then, around 2010, the ninjas suddenly vanished, and the domestic violence pivot began.
Once she realized that the ninja story wasn't working for her, she suddenly remembered that she wasn't a witness. She was a victim. This meant her legal team had to hit the reset button, and they spent the next 2 years digging through 82,000 emails, hiring experts and trying to smear a dead man's reputation just to see what would stick. It wasn't a defense, it was a victim character assassination.
And while the world was waiting, Jodi was busy. She wasn't just sitting in a cell contemplating her life choices, she was building a brand. She was giving jailhouse interviews, selling her art on eBay through a third party, and even Twitter venting via Messenger. She treated her incarceration like a red carpet premiere. And by the time the trial started on January 2nd, the tension in that Phoenix courtroom was thick enough to cut with the same weapon she used to kill Travis. When the trial finally kicked off, it wasn't just a court case, it was a high-octane media circus. Every news outlet in the country had descended on Arizona to see the photogenic psycho finally face the music. Yeah, I saw in one of those documentaries that she was like doing an interview and she was like so worried about her fucking makeup and making sure she looked good and not even worried about the fact that she had just done something terrible.
No, she didn't care. She was there to put on a show, and she was going to use that to make herself known. She'd always been a nobody. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't good or thriving in any way, so she's embracing it, I guess.
Yeah, she went from high school dropout to star of the show in this murder.
I mean, she's going out with a bang. Or
She had big teeth, by the way.
big head.
Yeah, she kind of was like horsish.
Anyway, enter Juan Martinez. This man has the energy of a caffeinated pit bull in a cheap suit, and he did not come to play. In his opening statement, he didn't lead with flowery language or he said, she said. He opened with the photos. He opened with the blood. He made it crystal clear to the jury that this wasn't about self-defense or ninjas. It was about a woman who couldn't handle being told no. Jodi had spent 1,632 days crafting her victim persona, wearing her good girl glasses and her library chic cardigans. But she was about to find out the hard way that a jury of 12 people doesn't care about your jailhouse art or your interviews. They care about the 5:32 p.m. timestamp. The clock was finally ticking, and this time, Jodi couldn't talk her way out of it.
Where the fuck did she get cardigans?
I don't know. Her mom?
So the trial officially began January 2nd, and it didn't reach a verdict until May 8th, 2013. That's 4 months and 6 days of pure, unadulterated chaos. Jodi was so sure of herself and confident in her defense that she spent 18 days on the witness stand. And to put that in perspective, most defendants don't testify at all. Those who do are usually up and back down in like 2 days max. Jodi turned the witness stand into her own personal stage, treating the jury to a gigantic backlog of grievances, sexcapades, and selective amnesia. This is the part that makes the case truly stomach-turning. When self-defense wasn't sticking, Jodi tried to burn Travis's entire legacy to the ground. She started accusing him of being a pedophile. She claimed she found evidence on his computer, hoping the jury would hate him enough to let her walk, and it backfired spectacularly. The prosecution proved that the evidence was either non-existent or planted by Jodi's own imagination. She wasn't defending herself, she was committing a second murder. This time, it was of his character. Then, Mimi took the stand and blew this bullshit show of Jodi's to pieces.
So while you were reading that, I Googled who got her the cardigan.
Who did? Who was it?
Kirk Nurmi.
Who the fuck is Kirk Nurmi?
It was specifically obtained by her lead counsel, Kirk Nurmi. So I guess it was one of her defense attorneys. He got it for her. And it became
Kirk Nurmi?
Nurmi. Nurmi.
Ugh.
You're like, where did she get a cardigan? Like, now we know. Kirk
Nurmi.
It was the gray cardigan, which became a staple while she was on the stand.
Okay. That was everybody's Halloween costume that year.
So if Jodi was the star of this 4-year circus, Mimi Hall was the bucket of ice water that snapped the jury back into reality. See, Jodi spent 4 years trying to gaslight the world into believing that she was Travis's one and only soulmate. Then Mimi walks into the courtroom, composed, smart, and actually liked by people, and the jury sees exactly who Travis was actually trying to build a future with. It wasn't the girl hiding in the bushes, it was the woman sitting on the stand. Mimi dropped the ultimate motive bomb, the Cancun trip. This was the gem that proved to the jury that by June 2008, Travis wasn't just breaking up with Jodi, he was actively replacing her with someone he actually respected. And in Jodi's warped, if I can't have him, no one can mind, Mimi wasn't just a friend, she was the woman who had stolen the life Jodi had felt entitled to.
Well, the prosecution then brought in the heavy hitters, one being Dr. Janine DeMarte. She took the stand and dismantled Jodi's victim persona with surgical precision. She took that PTSD diagnosis the defense pulled out of their ass and made it what it really was. Her official diagnosis was borderline personality disorder. They found that Jodi was a textbook case of, if I can't have you, no one can. The doctor pointed out the classic signs, the mirroring, so changing her religion, her hair, and her personality to match Travis, her fear of abandonment, the slashing his tires, the hacking his Facebook when he tried to move on. And then her rage, converting love into a 27 stab wound massacre the second she was officially replaced by Mimi Hall for the Cancun trip. So Jodi wasn't traumatized by the murder. She was a woman who lived in a world where her ego was the only thing that mattered.
So after months of hearing about the secret sex tapes, pedophile accusations, which were proven to be total fabrications by Jodi, and seeing the gruesome crime scene photos, the jury finally got the case. They deliberated for about 15 hours over the course of 4 days. On May 8, 2013, the atmosphere in the courtroom was so tense that you can hear a heart monitor beep from 3 blocks away. So the jury didn't just buy the self-defense story, they didn't buy the ninjas, and they certainly didn't buy the battered woman act. They looked at the gas cans and the stolen gun and the recovered photos and saw exactly what Jodi was, a cold, calculating killer who spent more time planning an alibi than she did mourning the man she claimed to love.
But wait, there's always fucking more. So the drama didn't end with the guilty because this was a death penalty case. They had to decide if she gets the needle. The jury actually deadlocked on the death penalty, not once, but twice. Even after seeing the photos, some jurors couldn't bring themselves to vote for execution. Ultimately, though, in 2015, a judge had to step in and sentence her to life in prison without the possibility of parole at the Arizona Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation, and Reentry. God, could they make that name any fucking longer? Jodi Arias traded her 15 minutes of fame for a lifetime of gray walls and shitty prison food. She wanted to be a star, and she ended up a cautionary tale about why you should always change your locks after a breakup and possibly lock your doggy door and put your car in the garage and change your number and fucking move. And that's it. That's the case. We did it.
Yay! We did it.
Woo! Good job, Holly.
Thanks, Kat. You did awesome yourself.
Thanks. You did.
I
You
didn't
did.
I did it.
You were here.
I showed up.
You are here tonight.
Yep.
And you know what time it is?
Time to eat a cheeseburger. I
No,
want a
it's not
cheese-
fucking time to eat a cheeseburger.
I'm hungry.
Oh my God, you're always...
Because
No,
you always want to
no.
do this at dinner time, and so I don't eat and I wait until after we're done.
No.
And then
No.
Yeah.
No. You picked the fucking time tonight. In fact, it was 6 o'clock, and then you were like, it's actually going to be closer to 6:25.
But that's because we wouldn't have started till at least 7. And then you would have been like, what the fuck, Holly? I have to be in bed by 8.
I don't have to be in bed by 8.
I feel like you go to bed at like 8.
It's 8 o'clock now.
Yeah, and you're ready for bed.
I am quite sleepy. But anyways, no, it's not time to eat a fucking cheeseburger, and it's not time for dinner yet, Holly, because right now it is time for the 3 reasons of why this case is a hot mess. And I'm dancing alone.
Can I say reason number 1 is probably because they didn't have a Whopper with cheese?
Ba ba ba, I'm ignoring you, dancing to my own tune. Ba 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 da ba. All right, so first of all, this entire case hinges on one person's absolute refusal to accept reality. Kind of sounds like you. So here are the 3 reasons why I think this case is a hot mess besides the obvious. Reason number 1. The alibi of 1,000 miles. Jodi's perfect plan involved a rental car, 3 gas cans, and a literal trail of receipts that proved she was anywhere but Mesa. And when she was called out for what she left behind in that fired focus, she mentally crumbled into a whole new defense strategy. Reason number 2. She documented her own downfall. A camera full of photos, a sloppy cleanup attempt, and a road trip with gas cans like she's in a low-budget crime movie. Parts of this were planned, and parts of it were so poorly executed it's almost unbelievable they happened in the same timeline. And reason number 3. The 1,632-day PR campaign. Most inmates wait for trial in silence, but Jodi, she treated the Maricopa County Jail like a creative studio. She sold art, gave national TV interviews, and tweeted through proxies, treating a murder charge like a brand launch. Holly, what the fuck do you think of that?
Well, what makes this case such a hot mess is the constant collision between narrative and reality. Every version Jodi Arias offered was designed to regain control of the story, but the evidence never moved with her. It stayed fixed, consistent, and increasingly damning. That disconnect is where the insane amount of bullshit lives. And you have a defendant trying to reshape perception in real time, while the forensic evidence, timelines, and documented proof keep pulling everything back to the same conclusion. So it's not just that the story had changed, it's that no version could coexist with the facts. And that's exactly why this case unraveled the way that it did.
You are absolutely right. You know what? We should do this when you're hungry more often. That was really good.
Thanks. I'm really hungry.
You deserve a cheeseburger for that.
Thanks. I'm going to get a Whopper with cheese.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Good for you. And make sure you're following Hot Mess Murder Club anywhere you get your podcast. New episodes drop every Monday for your ear holes to enjoy. And don't be rude, hit that subscribe button unless you want Jodi to borrow your camera and leave a photo timeline of the bad decisions you made with your exes. And remember, if someone needs 3 completely different stories to explain the same night, it's not confusion, it's a cover-up waiting to collapse. Okay, that's it. Now get the fuck out of my house. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Fuck you.
Say bye, Kiki.